Hey, Lucas.
Hi, I'm Lana.
I'm Dave. That's Lucas.
And this is Lucas. Say hi. And we're here tonight to do our review of DUNE 1984, which we just got to see at on the big screen for the 40th anniversary, which is very exciting because I'm a big fan of this movie. I think it's probably the most unfairly maligned film ever made. Did I say that right? But anyway, so I didn't think I'd ever get a chance to see it on the big screen.
I really love this movie. That's the first time I've seen it on the big screen. Also, thanks to Fat Home Events. But it's just such a great movie. At the same time, when people tell me like, "Oh, it's awful," and they point out the things that are bad about it, it's like I can't argue with it because I see those bad things, but it's just outshined by like the set design and like all the crazy visuals and that the dialogue,
the over the top performances. Yeah. It's just fucking mesmerizing. Yeah. I will say the first two acts I think are great. The third act, I do feel like you can start to see where the studio interference comes in, because the third act feels very rushed and they slap a happy ending on it because they want it. It's funny because Star Wars ripped off the book Dune, but then the movie Dune is ripping off Star Wars at the end, and they want this happy ending. They got their Luke Skywalker, and it's like, no, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Because so that part is kind of, you do see where David Lynch was probably very frustrated and fed up with the crap he had to endure with the making of that. However, I still love the shit out of this movie. I just think it's a lot of fun. I just get really sucked into it. It's very like immersive. You feel like you're living in this world.
Yeah, I like all the weird like technology stuff they're using that they never even explain. They just do it. like Raban has like he's got this cube with like a cockroach in it, and it squishes the cockroach into a straw, and he slurps it up, and he's like and then that's it. Like they never explain what that is or what that was about. He just does it.
Right. And there's just so many cool visual effects. The Baron is so fucking disgusting. I love it.
Oh my god.
Like in addition to just the horrible boils, like he just starts bleeding, like his face just starts bleeding like the walls in the Amityville Horror.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like black pus. Like what? Oh my god,
he's just gross.
Oh god, yeah. And then he's related to Sting.
Yes, and Sting was at his stinginess in this movie.
Yeah.
He was extra stingy.
Yeah.
He plays Fade
Ratha.
Yeah,
Ratha.
I hope we're saying it right.
Yeah.
And he's like real ripped. There's a scene where he comes out and he's wearing like this metallic Speedo with wings on it. And I'm like, only a rock star could get away with that shit,
Yeah, I can pull it off.
He looks good, but the Baron's like checking him out a little too much. And I think it's his nephew, and I'm like, why are you looking at your nephew like that?
But it's funny because he always is looking back like, I know you're checking me out.
Yeah. Sting is great in this movie. He's having a blast. He's very psychotic. Yeah. I just really enjoyed his performance. And it's kind of a bummer because Sting is very charismatic, and he was trying to launch a film career, but he ended up in some bombs, like this one and The Bride. And he's great in both of them, but they just bombed, And I think he's done some art house stuff. And of course, Quadrophenia. I think I said that right. But he just never got into that one movie that really blew up his film career, which is unfortunate. I just think he had a lot of charisma and it was fun to watch. Yeah,
he's really good in this. And there's a scene in this where, he doesn't say anything, but it's all in his face, where like this guy comes in and he's putting flowers down for Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, and the Baron does something to him, but it doesn't show what it is, but there's blood spraying all over the place. And they just cut to everyone else's faces like around him, like trying not to look, except for a Sting is like like he's like totally like all into it. He's like all in. He's like, yes. Yeah, that's a great scene.
And I also was having a discussion with Dave about the Bene Gesserits, because I'm like, what the fuck? They seem like they're kind of this space cult of horror witches.
Yeah.
I think that's what they are.
I mean, that's where society's going.
Okay, yeah.
Space war witches.
And I love Lady Jessica has that cool hair, like that pompadour thing. But then later when she and Paul, end up on Dune, and they're in those suits that recycle your semen and urine, so you can drink it. Her wig's all disheveled, but now it's starting to look really like a wig, because it's just like falling out all over the place. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. That part.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about the suits also, because there's a part in the movie where it goes, and urine and feces are recycled here, and then you can drink from this tube here. I'm like, fuck no, no, let me die in the desert. It's okay. I want to drink poop.
Your own poop, which is even worse. Oh God.
Yeah, if it was someone else's poop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
We're mature.
Yeah, we need to talk about the Baron's bloodline, because he's got
a
very attractive family.
Yeah, like he's got because Lady Jessica's his daughter, Fade is his nephew, but they're really hot, and the new one wants to see Austin Butler's hot. He looks a little weird, but in this particular version of Dune, they're very hot. I'm like, how is this guy related to all these hot people, but he's the most disgusting looking thing on the
Yeah, it's like he hogged up all the ugly for the family, whole family. He's like, it's all in me, baby.
He absorbed the ugliness.
You want pussy boils? I got them. My weird buggy eyes? I got them.
And I think there was some of the controversy was that Kyle MacLachlan was a little too old to play Paul. I don't have an issue with it because I love Kyle MacLachlan, but I mean, yeah, he doesn't look 15, but it's not like he looks 30. I mean, he was still pretty young when he made this movie. Yeah. But Dave said it's funny, though, because everybody's talking to him like he's a child, not a grown-ass man.
Yeah, because they really, they talk to him like he's a little kid, and he's clearly a grown-ass man.
Patrick Stewart looks the exact same. He's always looked the exact same.
Mm-hmm. That's weird, because this is his first movie, so he must be very young. Yeah. I'm thinking he's in his 30s, but he still looks like he's, I don't know, 60.
Yeah. I wonder if he's got a Dorian Gray picture up in the attic.
He probably does, yeah.
Yeah, quite possible.
Because even only until I've seen him very recently does he actually look noticeably older, but even still he's not that old.
Right.
Just he was never that young.
Yeah. Dean Stockwell's a lot of fun in this. I guess he's like the Judas, this one.
Yeah, I like his whole, his spoilers, he dies. When he dies, he's like, you think I don't know what I paid for with my life? and no one questions it. Like, oh, I'm sure he didn't set us up.
And then he gives the Duke that lethal tooth, but the guy can't even blast it in the right face. He's like...
Yeah.
Like, you have one job.
Remember that, dude.
Remember, you had one job. You're supposed to kill the ugly guy, not the,
You had one job, Duke. In addition to running everything, you also had to do the tune.
Okay, you had 100 jobs, but this was the most important job.
Yeah, in this movie, it's shot such that I guess he's delusional and thinks it's the Baron, but it's really the dude, Peter, who's the voice of Chucky.
Yeah, Brad Dourif.
Yeah, Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky. Oh, and since we're going to go into that, I remember reading the book. There's a thing about how, people talk, but because they know people are eavesdropping, they'll do hand signals for what they're really saying. Mm-hmm. So, of course, in this movie, they go full-on Power Rangers, chop, 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 jazz hands, and Brad Dourif's particularly guilty of it, where it's not subtle at all. It's like, are you telling me something other than what you're saying with your mouth with those crazy hand gestures, dude?
And there's a lot of cute doggies in it. And here my mind goes when they get kidnapped, they're like, who's taking care of the dogs?
I think that's a good thread. Is the Duke has a pug. Mm-hmm. It's a pug, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's a pug that they show when they first arrive on Arrakis, and then later there's a number of years have passed, and then Paul runs into Gurney Halleck randomly in the desert.
As you do.
Yeah, it totally makes sense that would happen. And Gurney still has that damn pug.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't notice until this time watching it, at the very end of the movie, when like at the climax, there's people carrying that pug, like they're Fremen carrying the pug for Paul, like that pug made it through the whole damn movie, like through multiple wars and treachery and weird poisons and stuff.
And speaking of which, there's a scene where they're trying to, that one guy, they put poison in his body.
Oh yeah.
And then Sting comes down with a box with a cat and a rat. And they're telling this guy you have to milk the cat every day to stay alive.
Yeah.
But there's also a rat.
Duct tape to the cat.
And you're like, what's that there for?
And they never mention the rat.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What's with the rat? Do I
That's
gotta milk
total-
that?
That's total David Lynch craziness.
Your instructions are not so clear. Do I have to milk the rat as well? Do I have milking equipment? Do you got some miniature farm equipment for me to use?
I'm like, does he have to like literally suck the cat's nipple? Like, what the fuck is going on? What's going on? As Bret Michaels would say.
He's got to put it on his Cheerios every day.
Oh God. Would you rather milk the cat or drink your recycled
my
poop juice?
My recycled poop juice. I don't know, man. This is like the most hellish dystopia of all time.
It's really.
I think I just dropped dead.
I was like, just kill me, motherfucker. Which also leads into the fact that I collect vintage movie advertising from newspapers and stuff, and I also got into collecting, like looking for like toys and any kind of merchandise that was connected to these movies or blockbusters, or supposed to be big blockbusters. So Dune did have a toy line, and
Pardon me.
it did have a toy line. And also these activity books, which one is particularly famous online because there's a recipe for making these Dune spice cookies. And it's funny because, they're all aimed towards kids, but this is not a kid-friendly movie in any sense. I mean, it's very, gross. It's very gross.
Yeah,
it's very violent. Don't get me wrong, I loved it as a kid, but it is funny to think. I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there who, my parents are pretty, watch whatever you want, do what you want to do.
So
but I can't see, like somebody bringing like a 7-year-old to do. You're like, gonna love this.
Yeah, can we list off the non-kid friendly stuff? There's a severed head, weird pussy boils constantly. There's an attempted rape.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and
the severed head at the end when the emperor confronts the Baron, and there's that severed head.
There's a 2-year-old child dancing in slow motion covered in blood. And I know
there's like a space vagina thing in the beginning.
Crazy space vagina. And also, even though this doesn't sound specifically bad, there's just generally the whole sequence in the beginning where they talk to Kyle MacLachlan like he's a small child when he has beard stubble. I know that something about that is not kid friendly.
And Sting gets his throat cut.
Oh yeah.
There's a knife in it. So yeah, it's not a kid friendly movie. It's just so funny to think that they were really going for that. Like they really thought it was now like a Star Wars thing. And I'm like, And I think maybe that was a problem because they were marketing it to the wrong audience.
They should have been marketing it to stoners.
That would have been like the 2001 crowd.
Because I mean the visuals are so wild. Like that's the thing that I love about it. But yeah, it's not a kid thing. I couldn't see me liking this as a small child. Not at all.
Yeah, I think you'd be traumatized by it. I mean, when I saw it, it came out when I was 13. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it on the big screen, but I saw it on cable like a year later. So, I was fine. But what else were we gonna say?
Well, I've seen this movie many times, and every time I notice something different. And the thing I noticed this time, and I told you this, is there's just a casual scene where there's a cow sort of in the background, and Raban walks by and just yanks the tongue of the cow out and starts chomping on it, and he's eating it. And I saw that, and I'm like, did I just fucking see that? What the fuck?
Yeah, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
This movie's chock full of crazy shit. And then Sean Young, who I love, she's in it. And I was saying to Dave that it's kind of strange you don't see her on the convention circuit. because she's in some very iconic films.
Mhm.
So I think, you know, she should come out and do something. I'm just saying. I'm putting in a request for Sean Young.
Yeah.
Has she done them? Any of you out there have ever seen her at a convention?
Yes.
Let me know.
Please
If you
come
had
out,
a Sean Young story, I just think she's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Come on, Sean. We're very friendly.
yeah. Come on
We just
out.
want to get a photo taken and say hi and tell you you're great. That's all we want.
And wear your Catwoman outfit.
I'll wear one too if it makes you comfortable.
So, but I'm just blown away by the costumes in this. The sets are extraordinary. Everything in it is extraordinary. It's just so sad. Even with the rushed third act with the stupid happy ending, I mean, it's still such a great movie and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, the details about how like each, like there's the Atreides sort of dress and look a certain way, and then all the Harkonnens dress and look a certain way, and then they go to the Emperor's people. I don't know what his people are called, but they all have the, like everything has a specific look where it feels like they are from different planets in a way. You know, I think that's neat because lots of times in sci-fi movies when they're coming from all different planets, it still all looks the same, but this feels very different. Yeah. Yeah. The visuals are so wild, like the crazy, like there's a scene where this thing comes in Paul's room to kill him. What is it? A hunter seeker thing? It's like a needle.
Yeah.
It's like a flying,
that scene with Linda Hunt.
Yeah, a flying syringe is flying around. But there's a moment where you see it from its point of view, and it's this. It almost like looks like inside of like a grandfather clock of just stuff ticking around and stuff. It's great. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of.
The giant worms are fun.
Yeah. They do look kind of fake and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously there's some scenes where like he's riding it and he's like, you know, standing on top of it, you know, the fucking green screen in the background. That looks a little fake, I'll say that part.
Yes, it's weird because the effects I think are uneven because some of the effects didn't age at all and others look great.
Yeah.
But like I know there's a scene where there's like, was it the spice harvester and then like a little dune buggy rides up in the back of it. And it just looks like a wind-up toy. It looks so bad. But, like, a lot of the other scenes look great, so. And
I will say, we went to see, they showed the new Dune Part 1. They re-released it for one night in IMAX. And they did a preview of Dune 2. And they showed the scene where Paul rides the worm. And that looked incredible. So I'm like, okay, that's going to be fun. But, so I will say that special effect would probably be better. I'm always going to love the David Lynch one more. I think the new one's good, but the David Lynch one's just always going to be special to me. It's in my heart.
And like just generally the fact that they attempted to try riding worms with the effects of those times, because really if you think about it, like back in that day, they couldn't pull that off, but God bless them for trying.
Yeah. I also like to mention Virginia Madsen, who I love, and I love the opening sequence with Princess Irulan, who, again, you can tell there's studio interference because I feel like she should be in a lot of the movie, and they set it up like she's gonna be, and you see her here and there, and then you don't see her till the end, but she doesn't serve the purpose that she does in the book, which I won't spoil that if you haven't read the book. But I think it's a very cool opening segment. And I saw a funny interview with her where I think that was her first job. And she said that, her first movie role, and she said, I guess David Lynch was looking through Polaroids, and there was one of her, and she did, the way she described that she was dressed was pretty much like Madonna, like lace this and lace that, you know, just that was that time period. And she thought it was funny because David Lynch picked her allegedly because he said that she had a classic look, which she thought was hilarious because she dressed up like Madonna. But she did, you know, he must have seen something because she does look very regal in the movie. I wish we could have seen more of her in that role. I like her.
Yeah, I like her narration where it's like it's her face, and she's saying a bunch of stuff, and then she fades out, and you think she's done, and then she comes back and says, "Well, one more thing." Yeah. She's like Columbo, and one more thing. I forgot to tell you.
Oh, by the way, they gotta drop the title. You know, Planet called Arrakis, also known as Dune. Oh shit! Now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Dune, I don't know,
Virginia Madsen. Worms. Shit. All right, we'll think of something. I'll try to recall it. I remember what I was gonna say. So this is the first time as an adult I watched the movie not high. So I'm like, oh, you know, like now I kind of understand the plot a little bit more.
Less minutes, right?
Well, and I read the book. I just recently had read the book because it's one of those books I always wanted to read, but like, I just never got around to it. So I finally did read it. So then that also made, help the story make more sense. But but when I was a kid, I really didn't care that it didn't make sense. I just thought it was such a fascinating looking film. But there were many times I watched it high. So tonight I'm like, I want to watch it, just drunk tonight and see how that goes.
It's man, I don't have any more to add to it. It's a great film.
But I just want to say, there were some people who were asking about my eye surgery, which I really appreciate. Thank you guys. The eye's getting better. It takes about 3 months to fully heal, but when the retina detached, I just kind of went blind in that eye. They do a procedure where they inject this gas bubble into your eye and it resets the retina. So you have to lay in a face down position for a week afterwards, which is horrible. Not as bad as Madam Web, but still pretty horrible. And then you have this bubble in your eye. It looks like there's a fishbowl in your eye, but it eventually starts to go away. So it's getting much better. A little more nearsighted in the eye, but they're going to give me a new prescription and stuff like that. But I just want to thank you guys for asking about it. And again, we hope we can meet up with Newt soon because we'd love to do a review with him. And there's some good movies coming out this year. I think it would be fun to review with Newt. Yeah. And we like to hear his take on Dune 84 because I think he's also a fan. I feel like this is one of those movies that you just hear people always shitting on it. But it does have this cult around it, people who love it. Does have its fans. Years ago I worked at Suncoast Pictures, which you might remember, in the mall, which the place that would sell videos instead of renting them. But when this came out,
it was next to Spaceport.
When this came out on video in THX, it was a big deal. It was widescreen THX, and people would reserve movies every week, and you'd come in, you have a stack of movies that were set up for when they come in to pick them up. And I remember I came to work and I was kind of stunned because the stack of the Dunes that were reserved were like the same height as me. But it made me feel good. I'm like, I'm so glad that there are people out there who want to see this movie, because I just always thought it was a fun movie. So I'm glad it had its fans. With the Fathom events, there were some more people there tonight than I usually see at the Fathom events. And I'm hoping that it gets, and again, I know it's not the vision David Lynch wanted. I hope we're never probably going to see what he wanted. That's sad, because I really I would have really loved to have seen his completed vision. But at least, I saw another interview with him where he was talking about his disappointment, and that experience was very traumatic for him when the studio was driving him crazy. But the person doing the interview mentioned, it does have a lot of fans, or people really love it. He's like, in true David Lynch form, he goes, it does have things. I'm like, I guess that's the closest we'll ever get to him saying something positive about it,
It does have things, and I love those things.
So, so I enjoy the movie, and maybe I hope it gets re-released again someday, maybe for the 50th. A few years from now.
It's funny because we did a Madam Web review, and I feel like this movie is like the opposite of Madam Web, because Madam Web was made by a bunch of people who had to make a movie, and no one wanted to make the movie, and it didn't turn out good. And then this movie, it seemed like there's a lot of heart in it, like everyone was trying,
Yeah. Really.
And whether you think it works out or not, you got to admit that the result is the opposite. You can see the passion on the screen.
Especially the special effects and the costumes and the cinematography. I mean, the crew, it just seemed like they really wanted to create this world and wanted you to live in it for 2 hours. And
I think there's some really fun dialogue in there. The whole Father, the sleeper has awakened.
Yeah, there's some great cheesy lines.
And just Sting running around going, I will kill him. That's great.
And then he who controls the spice controls it.
Yeah. I mean, those are once you hear them, they're in your head.
Yeah, forever. So, well, thank you guys for checking out our review, and we hope to see you again soon. Say goodnight, Lucas.
Good night.